Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How's your day going?
We're feeling awesome. There's a vibe. There's an energy that only the NFL playoffs can provide. So the whole city is on fire, Coach. So thank you for that after the playoff win last week.
Oh, you're welcome. It was an excellent win for us. You know, obviously, I thought our guys really were obviously ready to play, but just came out from the first play and just got into the rhythm and timing that we needed, and we were extremely productive. So excellent win for us.
When you're preparing for a game and then you guys go out and play and you play like that, does a game ever surprise you? Like, man, I'm surprised how well we played, or on the flip side, does it ever surprise you?
No, I'd say no, just because that's what your expectation is, and I think the reality of staying in the game of the expectation and the reaction of the opponent is a big part of being successful. So it's rewarding, I would probably say, when you play the way you want to play. But obviously these games are tougher and tougher each week. Just when at the beginning of the week we do like a comparable breakdown that pretend you present to the team, and it just shows the production levels of both sides, and obviously it's very it's very equal going into this contest, and that's part of being where we are in the playoffs.
So last week, Coach, oh, by the way, off that gritty thing, I forgot to ask you, do you dance at weddings or you stay seated?
These dang iPhones, they've ruined a lot of good times for us for the older generation. Yes, I enjoyed dancing with my family. And I think we're hard pressed to call that a dance. I mean, I think I took about 4 steps. But,
yeah. Well, I didn't.
There wasn't a whole lot of room in there with all them damn cameras, so I couldn't really get going.
Coach, last week, I thought you ended our interview. You were very emphatic. You said, I can promise you. You also told Brad Sham in the pregame here on the station, I can promise you that we're not going to be nervous. And that I took as just great confidence and belief in the way you all prepared. Do you have a feeling or a word to describe how this week has gone, how you're feeling or how the guys are feeling heading into this one?
Yeah, I think we're very focused. I'm big believer in behavioral evaluation, and I think that the biggest thing at this time of year is and as I've talked to the team about it, we don't need new ideas, new behaviors. Let's get locked in on what we're doing, to be proactive with our adjustments, and let's just let's make sure we get it repped. Today's a big mental day for us with the rest of recovery at the segment at the end of it. So just really totally dialed into that, and this week's been fast, obviously coming off of the Monday night, but you could feel the energy Wednesday. I really liked the energy on Wednesday because it was high. There was a lot of conversation as opposed to the beginning of the week. In Tampa, coming off the Monday was they were quiet and and obviously didn't feel good about how they played in Washington. So I think for the short week preparation phase, we've had a really excellent 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday.
Micah yesterday was talking about being the underdog, and he prefers that. With your behavioral analysis and your history in the league, can you benefit more from being the underdog? And it's nothing crazy out there, but it felt like you guys had more pressure on you to exercise all these playoff demons and Dak playing last week than you do this week. Is this a better position to be in?
So we're the underdog?
Yeah. Yes, by 4.
By 4, wow. Okay.
Now, look, the last time you did this, you all went out and dominated, so don't get us too excited right now the last time you reacted like that.
No, I divisional round, so no, we're very confident, and I think there's an underdog in all of us, to as you thrive and strive through this business. And
listen to this answer.
No, this is good. This is good stuff.
Filibuster answer.
Listen to that.
I'm loving every moment of it. I'm like, all right, I'll just cut to the chase.
We'll move on.
I think it's great. I'm right there with Micah. Let's just go with that one.
Okay.
Coach, what can you take from last year's playoff game? Can you take? I mean, some of the personnel is different. Obviously, the quarterback's different. But, like, how much can you take from that game and use it for this year?
The biggest thing I got out of it watching over the weekend was really the personnel matchups, and really, even going back to 2020. We played them at home in 2020 also. There's still, a lot of the same players on their team. You're just able to watch those guys, what they've done over the last 2 years. Because, let's be honest, the tape that you have yourself versus the opponent is really good tape. The game in particular, just watching it, I think it was Saturday. It's a very herky-jerky game with the penalties. So, as far as that, because the down and distances that were created, because of that, there wasn't a whole lot you can really use, for that. So, but yeah, I think just like anything, we're a different team than we were last year. Frankly, they're a different team than they were last year too. Frankly, I think both teams are better teams at this point. I think if you just look at the production and particularly the efficiency of the production, both teams are more productive. We're more balanced in the area of complementary football. They're on a hell of a roll here for the last 10, 11 weeks. So I think you're seeing a hell of a clash of two outstanding football teams come together Sunday.
What have you seen from Brock Purdy? How's he different from Garoppolo?
I tell you, he's a playmaker. He's the thing that jumps out to me on film is his instincts and his ability to throw on time and very aware. Defensively, he has an understanding of obviously the offensive concept and the stress points it creates for the defense. And the thing I like most about him is his confidence. You can see it in the way he scrambles, and he plays pretty free of mind for a young player.
Do you still think that there are things that you can do to confuse him as a rookie quarterback, or are we past that now with all the games and winning that he's done?
Well, I think that one of the things about their structure, particularly in normal B&D, they do a lot of shifts and motions almost every down. So, so when you get into the mannerisms and the disguise components of the pre-snap, that's a stress. When it's a bigger stress for you on defense when they do that, because obviously they're trying to gain a leverage point, advantage, from you as far as expanding the C gap, stressing your force, your run force, all those things are applied to why they're doing it. So I think it definitely helps. But yeah, I think like anything, situational football is always a key battleground for having success in these playoff games, and we got to be really good in the situational football. And frankly, I think our biggest focus, this week is the tackling. We got to have an excellent tackling performance because they do an outstanding job of breaking tackles.
Mike McCarthy here on Shan and RJ via the Diamond Factory hotline. For much of the year, Coach, everyone has labeled them as having the best defense in the National Football League. What are your thoughts on that? And more importantly, what do you see on tape from them with arguably the Defensive Player of the Year in Bosa?
Well, obviously, Nick Bosa's having an incredible year. Tremendous talent. Obviously, great fit for what they're doing defensively, and I think not only him, but it's a defensive line with a lot of depth and a lot of talent. So it definitely starts up front there. And I think like anything when you look at defenses, you look at all three levels. And they have fantastic players on all three levels of the defense. So that's a real credit to them personnel wise, and it's a system that's been intact now for a number of years, and and it's coordinated and ran at a very high level. So this will be a great contest for us.
Coach, how did you approach Brett Maher this week?
I think just like anything. You sit down, you talk about it, and you lay out a plan for what we want to get done this week, and and he's Brett puts in a lot of extra time. He's one of the guys you'll see here in off hours. He was here last night, so just obviously make sure he's getting everything he needs to have a good plan to get ready.
How do you get somebody out of that? Like, have you experienced this with anybody in the past where, man, they have like just the worst possible day in their career, and then getting them mentally back in it?
Definitely. I went through this with Mason Crosby. I think 2012, 13, somewhere back in there, and I want to say he missed 5 kicks in Detroit. So, and that's yes, I have been through this before.
Not going to ask you the specifics, but you have a set threshold on maybe going for 2 like you did against Tampa, maybe going to Vizcaino, or is it all going to be in the moment feel on Sunday?
Well, I think you have to coach, coach every game, based on, the situations and so forth. I mean, today is we have a game management review session that we have with our game management pod, and so we'll go through how we feel like this game, is going to lay out. We'll go through the officials' report and so forth. And I have another meeting tomorrow just with myself and the 3 coordinators, and we go through specifically, how we see the game being called. We go through every situation. So, that part doesn't change, and that's always specific to the opponent.
So can you tell if, whatever the issue was fixed in practice, or is that something that you can only really tell if it's fixed, once you get out there on the field in a game?
Well, it's no different for any position. I mean, it's, you got your practice environment, you have your game day environment, and obviously you try to create as much game environment situations as you can on a practice field, but there's still nothing like the game.
Mike McCarthy here on Shan RJ, 105.3 The Fan, as the Cowboys and the 49ers going to play right here on DFW Sports Station. Has the short week storyline been overblown?
Frankly, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it. What particularly are you?
Your rest time compared to their rest time, 2 days, 2.5 days.
Travel.
Has that been a little bit overblown?
I think at the beginning of the week, it's part of the challenge. But I mean, we've been on a 6-day before, so I would have to say it's overblown. I'm not concerned about it, so you two should be concerned about it. I appreciate you looking out for us.
Hey, Coach, one more thing. This has kind of developed into an NFL story with the kicking game. The Eagles, I guess, are getting looked at. An illegal object or something being put on the field to help with ball placement. Are you familiar with that, and why is that a big deal for these kickers to use?
Well, I think it's like anything in this league. Something happens, someone pushes in the envelope. I don't know specifically what happened to create this swell of focus on it, but I don't like it. And the reason why I don't like it, it's the time. What are we doing? I mean, we're messing with the kickers in the playoffs, So I think these are things you resolve in the off season. These are things that you go through the preseason and you get corrected. And I think the officiating department does an outstanding job of that. And that's, Frank, I think we work with like 5 or 6 different crews this summer. This was the best training camp, exercise that I've ever seen in 30 years in the league. And, so they have the process in place. But to do that in the playoffs, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Preach.
That's right.
Preach. I don't know. Preach. That's what we've been saying. You Toloing.
What's that?
we agree with you. We were saying the same thing earlier in the year, earlier in the week. Like, you can't make changes like this in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm just trying to, trying to act like I know what the hell you two are talking about.
Well, that's hard. You don't want to go down that route.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I'm losing my focus.
Coach, is there anything tricky or different about this surface? Kind of like we asked about heading to Lambeau. And obviously you coached there a long time ago, but there any tricks of the trade to know for playing on this field and at that stadium?
Well, I mean, it's when I was there, we were still at the
Candlestick.
the old Candlestick Park, but yeah, I know they changed the surface a number of times. I haven't been out there in a couple of years. My understanding it's in really good shape. So I mean that's really what pregame's for. And actually our equipment guys do a great job. They'll be over there Saturday night setting up, and so I'll see Bucky at the hotel and he'll tell me about the surface. So we have a process we go through, and most importantly, we make sure our guys. I talk about the grass on the Saturday night, the surface on the Saturday night meeting, and just make sure that everybody's in tune with the proper shoe wear that's they should have on. And but that's why our guys go out as early as they do. They get out there and check the field, check the shoes, and make sure they're ready to go.
Yeah, I think the most important question, the most pressing thing on everyone's mind is will you be clean shaven for the game this week?
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
That's your boy, Mike, right there. That's Choppy.
And are you a foam or a gel guy on the shaving cream?
I'm for what's on the sink.
Soap. He shaves with soap. If that's out there.
Do what you got to do, right?
Do what you got to do. Exactly. Yeah. Coach, thank you so much as always. Fantastic. Safe travels. Best of luck. And we hope to be talking again next week, man. Thank you.
You bet. Take care, man. Thank you.
Head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy, on the Diamond Factory Hotline.
Call us men. I like that.